Hey, knitting mamas, welcome back to another episode. Today we are going to explore a simple change that can revolutionize your day and your self-care time. If you are anything like me, then you might not have enough of that time that is just for you, where you do the things that actually fill your cup so that you can then turn around and be there for your family in the way you want to. And today we're going to talk about how you can actually find more of that precious me time. And I say, let's just get going. Hey there, Mama. Welcome to the Knitting Mamas podcast. If you're a mom who's tired of feeling exhausted and longing for some well-deserved self-care and rest, you are in the right place. I know that finding time for yourself as a busy mom can feel like an impossible puzzle. But guess what? You don't have to compromise anymore. Hi, I'm your host, Nadine Medina. And just like you, I am a mom, wife, and also a happy knitter. Over my 15 years of motherhood, I have been on a journey to discover how to truly recharge without the guilt and the never-ending quest for perfection. The secret? It's all about progress, not perfection. By focusing on simple routines, natural wellness solutions, and the cozy art of knitting, I found the path to feeling whole and content. And on this podcast, I am sharing it all with you so you can do the same. Are you ready to find simple solutions to set yourself free from mom guilt, to take more time for yourself to truly rest, and to use your knitting skills for a mindful routine that creates space in your life so you can breathe easier? Let's take a deep breath, grab those knitting needles, and say goodbye to mom stress. Together, we'll create a supportive community that encourages you to prioritize self-care while juggling all your responsibilities. Sound good? Let's do this. Welcome back, mamas. I'm so excited to have you here today for another episode of the Knitting Mamas podcast. And before I get started with the episode and with the simple hack that I have for you today, I really want to take this time to say thank you so much for listening to this podcast, for being here, and for making the launch of the Knitting Mamas podcast such a great success this week. It was overwhelming for me to see how many of you actually took the time out of their day not only to listen, but also to share the podcast with your mama friends and leave me some amazing reviews. I am just so grateful. So thank you so much for that. And a quick announcement before we get going. I want to remind you that we have our first Knit and Chill Circle coming up on the 24th of January. It is like a little coffee/tea/knitting chat that we're going to host over Zoom right in our Facebook community. So come join us, see how this first one is going to go. I hope we're going to have a good turnout. It's going to happen at 3:30 in the afternoon. For those of you who are like, oh no, I can't do anything during the day, don't worry. We're going to have a couple of these coming up. I'm planning to do these once a month, but if they're really going well, then of course we're going to do them more often. And I can't wait to host these for you and for us to just answer your questions, hang out, maybe show off our projects, and just knit and hang out together. So join us for the first one, January 24th. It's a Wednesday. And again, if you can't make it during the day and you can only do evenings, don't worry, it's coming. All right, so let's talk about this one thing that I'm going to suggest to you. If you are a mom who is constantly finding herself running out of time to use for the things that you actually love doing, is it knitting, getting your knitting time in, or, reading a good book, just simply enjoying your coffee in peace or your tea in peace? Those are things that really will fill our cup, but if we don't make time for them, it doesn't take a long time for, us to kind of feel frazzled and running behind and just kind of like not fulfilled. So we don't want that to happen. So we definitely want to always work this me time into our day, even on the days where the laundry's not finished and the dishes are still in the sink and, you otherwise feel like you haven't done enough. Just once again, let's ditch that, okay? We always do our best. I want all of us to have that feeling of, I'm doing my best, I'm giving my best, but I also deserve to take some time for myself. So With that said, I challenge you this week to try this small change in your routine for a more peaceful morning that you hopefully are going to be able to use for something that you want to do and not that everybody else is asking you to do. And as a mom, I know this myself, that can be a really hard thing to not just be like, oh my gosh, I'm going to use this free time that I just got for, checking my email and replying to this and doing this thing real quick and knocking this off my to-do list. I fall for that so much. So I have to constantly remind myself intentionally to say, this is my time right now. I carved this out for myself and I deserve to sit here, drink my coffee, drink my tea. I don't drink coffee anymore. That's a whole other episode, by the way, how that came to be. Because if anybody knows me for a longer time, they're going to be like, wait, what? So let's save that one. But to not fall into other people's to-do lists or agendas, but just use that time for ourselves. And for most of us, to be quite honest, that does not take a long time. Like, we do not need hours and hours and hours of, time to ourselves so we can do the things that we love. Of course, we would take it if it's there. But if you are so short on time that 10 to 30 minutes would just change your day, then this one is definitely for you. So the thing I'm suggesting to you is to take 10 to 30 minutes extra time in the morning before your family wakes up and before you're like, I can't do this. I don't have time to do that. My kids wake up immediately. Let me back it up a little bit, because the way this works without you losing actual sleep, which is not what we want to do. So we do not want to compromise our sleep. We just want to kind of shift our time to where it's actually going to be beneficial to us. So how many of us are actually, hanging out on the couch after the day is finally over and you got everything done and you're just exhausted and you just kind of like sit there and possibly watch TV or scroll your phone, go to the social media channels and just kind of like mindlessly waste away those last 30 to 60 minutes of the day before you then finally collapse into bed. I used to do that. And in the end, that time might feel good in the moment because you really, just need to kind of be done with everything. But if you were to just take that time, go to bed, get some actual good sleep, and then take that same time and wake up that much earlier in the morning, and then use the time in the morning to truly and intentionally fill your cup with activities that are going to make you feel better. Because honestly, personally, I don't feel better after I scroll social media for half an hour, unless I'm intentionally looking for something, that's helpful, like a tutorial or I don't know, something that's actually like going to help me with something. Otherwise, I fall into the comparison trap really quickly and it drains my energy versus energizing me. So I really don't want to do that during the time that I have set aside for myself. So instead of checking your email, scrolling your social media during that time that you just carved out in the morning by going to bed a little bit earlier than you used to, getting some more rest, and then getting up that much earlier in the morning, I would recommend a few activities that you can do during that time. So one that I really, really enjoy personally, that has become such a anchor for me that, really kind of sometimes makes or breaks my day, is a morning walk. So when I get out and I can walk for 20 minutes in the fresh air, the sun is coming up, I just get moving and I just feel so much more alive and awake when I'm done with that. That's definitely one of my favorites. It also clears your head when you're out there, especially these days when it's, kind of cold outside in the morning. I walk summer or winter, doesn't matter to me. I love it either way. But if that's something that you haven't tried out yet, I would definitely recommend that. Another thing that I really highly recommend to calm your day or have a calm start to your day would be a meditation. If that's something that you have maybe done in the past or you want to give it a try, it is not for everybody, but it's also something that you can learn to really appreciate and enjoy. And just a quick word of caution, because a lot of people think, oh, I can't meditate because I always, get sidetracked during my meditation. I want to let you know that that's actually part of the practice. So just because you're thinking, oh my gosh, my head is full of thoughts while I'm trying to meditate, isn't it supposed to be like, calm and quiet and there's no thoughts? That's not the case. So the actual practice of meditation is for you to learn to direct your thought back to the present moment. So just a little hint there, because I've seen so many people who told me, oh, I can't meditate because every time I try, my mind goes all over the place. And I don't think that's the point. And it's completely the opposite. So every time you do the meditation, it's beneficial to your mind and, just really the way you react to anything that comes your way during that day. And of course, another amazing activity that you can do in the morning that hopefully fills your cup and that definitely works for me is knitting. So knitting is such a calming activity. And if you listen to the last episode, you heard me talk about all the benefits that knitting has for you as a busy mom, because it can really, conquer your stress levels that you have going on and really put you into this present moment and in a calm space. And you can even listen to either a meditation or an audiobook that calms you or some calming music while you're knitting. And it's just such a great start to the day. And the fourth thing that I love doing in the morning and that I highly recommend is either stretching or yoga. And that is just such a great way to start your day. You can combine any of these as well, but if you're looking at 10 to 30 minutes, you might want to pick one or two to just get you started. But the stretching is just such a great thing to do in the morning. It's just the same as with the walk. Combination of the two is also great. But, coming out of bed and having laid down all night, it's just nice to stretch out your body in the morning. And it just gives me such a great feeling of like, okay, I can do this. This day is going to be a great one. So that's my personal experience with this. I have been doing some sort of like form of a morning routine for, gosh, I can't even remember how long. It's got to be like 14, 15 years. And I found such value in it because even when my kids were smaller, like now they're in their teens and they sleep in, and now I have to actually pull them out of bed versus, 10 years ago where I had to tiptoe around in the morning and make sure nobody wakes up. So I actually do get my nice quiet morning time. So wherever you find yourself, with that, there are ways to get that time in the morning, but it also does require your willingness to shift your sleep. Because again, I don't want you to lose sleep over it. If you already don't get a lot of sleep, definitely do not lose sleep over having this time in the morning, but consider shifting your evening routine just a little bit further into the evening so that you can get that extra sleep and that extra time. And this might take a little bit. It's not like happening overnight, and but I would really, really highly encourage you to try this out and give it a good try. Don't do it for a day and be like, nah, that wasn't for me, because a lot of us might have to kind of approach it with a little bit of a like 5 minute at a time approach, where you take 5 minutes earlier to bed, 5 minutes earlier getting up in the morning, and then the next day you do 5 more minutes and get up 5 minutes earlier. So that will then take you, somewhere between 2 to 5 days to actually get to your 30 minutes, if that's what you're aiming for. But it's just a great way to not do it all at once, because that actually might backfire and you're like, nope, I hate this. It's not worth it. So just kind of ease your way into that. That's how I did it back then. And I can tell you that my morning routine is like some of my most precious time that I have during my day. And of course, if it doesn't work one day, that's totally okay too. That happens. And then you just pick one of the actions that you have. So that you can at least say, you know what, I did a 5-minute meditation, and that still sets the tone for your day versus rushing out of bed and immediately being in some sort of reactive mode. So that's really the whole point of this, is for you to start the morning on your terms and truly say, you know what, today I already had some me time, some self-care, and anything that comes my way now that involves that is just bonus. So I hope that you actually want to try this out. Please report back to me. If you give this a try, if you've done this before, maybe you already have a morning routine and you're a total pro at that. I would love to hear from you. Maybe you can send me a DM on Instagram. You can share this episode on Instagram and tag me and let me know how this is going for you. The Instagram handle is @thenittingmamas, and you can find me there hanging out on Instagram almost every day. So highly encourage you to try this out and let me know how it's going. And just to wrap this up really quick, don't forget to join our Facebook group. I'm going to put the link to the Facebook group in the show notes, so you can find that there. You can find the free beginner's guide to knitting in the show notes as well. And of course, the link to the YouTube playlist that I've been talking about. If you are a beginner knitter and you are eager to pick up the new hobby in 2024, head over to those links, and I will see you and hear you in the next episode. Hey mama, I hope you've soaked up some great ideas from today's episode. Remember, a happy mom makes for a happy fam. If today's chat hit home with you, it would mean the world if you could leave a 5-star written review on iTunes. Your review will help other moms discover our community and embrace guilt-free self-care. Also, if you're scrolling through Instagram, why not snap a screenshot of this episode for your stories? Don't forget to tag me @thenittingmamas so that I can shout you out on my page as well. Plus, that way we can stay connected and spread the self-care magic. Oh, and have you heard about our cozy Facebook community? It's a guilt-free zone where we share relaxing routines, essential oils, and knitting adventures, and so much more. Come join us today at bit.ly/knittingmamas, and let's unwind together. Until we chat again, take care, mama. And remember, looking after yourself is not selfish. It's essential for that balanced life. Catch you soon right here on the Knitting Mamas podcast.